Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, let's unpack this a bit. Have you ever noticed that when things truly go well for you, like really well,
Hmm.
when you hit a big milestone or finally achieve something you've dreamed about, not everyone seems to be cheering you on.
Yeah, it's a strange feeling, isn't it?
It really is. It's this surprising, sometimes pretty uncomfortable truth. Your success can actually spark, well, negative reactions in other people. It can range from just quiet resentment all the way to sometimes open hostility.
Absolutely. It's something many people experience but don't always talk about.
Exactly. So our mission for this deep dive is to explore why that happens, the different reasons behind those reactions, and maybe more importantly, how you can navigate it all. Protect your own peace of mind and keep moving forward.
Right, how to handle it without letting it derail you.
Yeah. Today, we're peeling back the layers on something deeply human, I think. These complex emotions that pop up when someone else's success feels, I don't know, a bit too bright for certain people.
It touches on so much trust, disappointment, how we deal with our own stuff.
It really does. We'll be exploring this with, hopefully, a real sense of understanding. We're drawing insights from a pretty thoughtful self-improvement YouTube channel that has a unique take on this often overlooked emotional landscape.
Sounds good. Where should we start?
Okay, so let's jump into where it gets really interesting. We're starting with a group of people who often react negatively to your success. But here's the thing. It's often not because they actually dislike you.
Okay, so what's driving it then?
It seems to be more about their own journey. We're talking about those folks who have, well, failed on the exact same path that you're now succeeding on.
Ah, right. So your success becomes a kind of
I mean,
reminder.
exactly. In a very real way, your success acts like a mirror, reflecting their own past failures right back at them. It's quite a powerful image.
That's a crucial point. And what's often at play here isn't usually immediate personal dislike or animosity. Instead, it's something deeper.
Deeper how?
It's rooted in their own self-disappointment, a lot of comparison, and often this underlying, maybe unspoken fear. They don't hate you because you're a bad person, necessarily.
Uh-huh.
They're feeling pain because you achieved the very thing they once really wanted and for whatever reason couldn't get. And that can bring up some intense stuff.
Like what kind of stuff?
Oh, envy, maybe spite, real pain, sometimes even this irrational anger. And the strange part is that anger is often actually directed inward at themselves, even if it looks like it's aimed at you.
Wow. So it's really less about you, the successful person,
Yeah.
and much more about their own internal battle. Is that where something like an ego defense comes in?
Precisely. It's a really strong psychological defense mechanism.
Hmm.
Think about it. It's often much easier for our minds to blame external things.
Like what?
Like saying, oh, you just got lucky or you had connections, or maybe claiming you didn't face the same hurdles they did. It's easier than admitting maybe personal shortcomings or perhaps not putting in enough effort.
Right, it avoids the self-blame.
Exactly. That self-deception creates a kind of comforting story, a reason for their own defeat that lets them off the hook, emotionally speaking.
Hmm.
And think about it from maybe your own experience or for the listener. Have you ever been in a situation where someone else's success made you question your own path, your own journey?
Oh, definitely that feeling.
Yeah, that raw feeling of knowing something was possible. You saw it happen for someone else, but you missed it somehow. That can sting even more than the initial failure did.
I can absolutely see that. It's like a delayed regret, almost deeper.
It is. And there's often another layer, too, the fear of being left behind.
Left behind.
Yeah. When you grow, when you succeed, it can create this sort of emotional distance, or at least a perceived distance.
Yeah.
And that can make them feel inferior.
So they might react negatively to close that gap?
Sometimes, yeah. They might subconsciously try to diminish you or maybe minimize your achievement just to feel less abandoned, you could say. As if pulling you down makes that gap feel smaller.
That makes a lot of sense, sadly.
And it's really important to remember these feelings often come from their own unhealed internal stuff. Wounds they haven't dealt with, they build up these emotional walls for protection.
And your success feels like a threat to those walls.
Exactly. It becomes this constant comparison in their mind that kind of screams at them, hey, you were on this path once, but you didn't make it. And look, this person went so much further.
So, boiling it down, what's the core message for us here, if we're facing this?
I think it's that their negative reaction isn't really a judgment on you or your worthiness. It's more a reflection of their own struggle.
Their struggle to see their past as maybe a lesson, not like a permanent failure stamp.
Precisely. Your success could actually be inspiring for them, not threatening, but maybe they're just not in a place yet where they can see it that way.
Okay, that perspective helps. Now that leads us to another, maybe slightly different group. Those who just straight up believe you don't deserve the success you've achieved. This feels like a whole other ball game, emotionally.
It really does. It's a different flavor of negativity, for sure. Their internal script, the story they tell themselves, is often pretty clear.
What's that script sound like?
It's basically, they're not good enough for that, or they're not smart enough, or they aren't really qualified for what they got.
Ouch. And they find ways to justify that belief.
Oh, absolutely. They'll quickly point to external factors. It was just luck, they'll say. Or you knew the right people. Or maybe it was your appearance, or just being in the right place at the right time.
Basically anything except your actual talent or effort.
Exactly. They completely dismiss the hard work, the talent, the battles you fought when no one was watching.
So again, it sounds like their hostility isn't really about who you actually are.
Not fundamentally. If you dig a bit deeper, their animosity isn't truly about you, the person. It's more about who they think they should be in your place.
Ah, so it connects back to their own ambitions.
Often, yes. They frequently want what you have. And in many cases, maybe they even had similar dreams way back when, but they gave up on them.
So your success is a reminder of that.
A painful one, an almost unavoidable reminder of their own abandoned goals and maybe the struggles they faced but didn't overcome.
Hmm.
They weren't there for your fight, right? They didn't see you fall down and pick yourself back up.
They just see the end result.
They just see the polished final picture. And this question just echoes in their head, maybe subconsciously. Why them and not me? As if you somehow took something that should have been theirs.
That's a really potent dynamic. It feels like they've frozen you in time based on how they used to see you.
That's a great way to put it. They apply this really rigid judgment, setting these narrow standards based on their past perceptions of you.
So if they knew you when you were struggling,
Right. If they knew you when you were, just starting out or seemed ordinary, they kind of refuse to update their mental image. They can't acknowledge your growth.
why not? What's the resistance there?
Because accepting your worthiness now would mean admitting their own past judgments were wrong. And for someone with a fragile ego, that's a significant blow. This type of person often has a very brittle ego, actually.
So seeing you do well makes them feel diminished.
Automatically diminished, yes. And disturbingly, there's another layer, too. They sometimes engage in this. Well, it's like validation-seeking behavior.
What does that look like?
They subconsciously want you to stumble or fall. Because if you do, it confirms their belief that you were just lucky all along.
And that validates their choices
Right.
or their lack of progress.
Exactly. It validates their own, maybe stagnant position. They don't actually gain anything positive from hating you, except maybe this false sense of fairness if you trip up.
Wow.
They convince themselves that if you, this person they decided was undeserving, were to fail, it would somehow restore balance to the universe. It lets them avoid looking at themselves or feeling guilty for maybe giving up too soon.
And this really is a painful truth, isn't it? They don't hate you because you're a bad person. They might hate you because you were brave enough to do the thing they didn't dare to do.
You fought when they maybe gave up.
Yeah. Your success kind of shines a spotlight on their excuses. So what's most important for you, the person succeeding, to remember here?
I think it's that your continued success forces them to question their own inaction. And that's a question they're often deeply afraid to answer. Your path forward is the real response.
Okay, let's pivot to the third type now. This one feels very specific. Those who once laughed at you, made fun of you, but now, well, now you've succeeded.
This one carries a particular sting, doesn't it?
It really does. I actually have a really vivid memory related to this from high school. I was, a pretty quiet kid, didn't think I was anything special. My math grades were not great. And some, well, friends, I guess, used to joke around calling me Wolf Brain. It was from some cartoon character who was supposed to be really dumb.
Oh, wow, that's harsh.
Yeah. And if I ever had to, answer a question in front of the class, the moment I stood up, people would laugh.
Mm.
And it wasn't like a friendly chuckle, it was mockery.
Like they were saying you'd never amount to anything.
Exactly. It felt like they were saying I'd never be good, never go anywhere. And honestly, for years, those words, that feeling of being worthless,
Yeah.
It really embedded itself deep in my mind.
That's completely understandable. And what's truly striking about that kind of laughter, as you said, is that it's not about humor at all. It's a form of judgment,
Yeah.
a clear belief on their part that you just wouldn't amount to anything. And you're so right. Words like that can sink in deep, making you actually believe you are worthless.
It took a long time to shake that off.
But then often, as in your story, there comes a turning point. For you, it sounds like it was this quiet journey of self-reflection, right? And disciplined self-improvement.
Yeah, totally in secret at first. I started reading like 10 pages of a book every single day. Took online courses. I even started practicing speaking in front of a mirror,
Yeah.
just by myself.
Building those skills step by step.
Exactly. Until one day, fast forward a bit, I actually had this opportunity to speak at a university event. And guess who was sitting right there in the front row?
Let me guess. The person who used to mock you.
Yep, the main one. And seeing their reaction. It wasn't about wanting them to feel bad or seeking satisfaction for myself, really.
Mhm.
It was more about realizing something inside me had shifted.
Exactly. It was that realization that your own personal growth had moved beyond needing their validation. Or anyone else's for that matter.
Right.
They laughed back then because fundamentally they didn't believe people could really change. Probably because they hadn't changed much themselves.
That's insightful.
You're resilient. Just the act of falling down, feeling that mockery, and getting back up anyway, that stands in really painful contrast to their own, maybe, stagnation.
Yeah.
So if we think about the bigger picture here, your success now is like a direct challenge to their past actions, and maybe even to their own abandoned dreams. You become living proof.
Proof of what?
Proof that people can change if they dare enough, if they act enough, and if they can endure enough contempt along the way. They don't hate you. They hate facing the reflection of what they themselves never dared to do.
Wow. Okay. So, given all that, how should you respond when you encounter someone like this now? Someone from that past?
Well, arguing isn't usually effective. Confronting them, demanding they accept you now, that often backfires or just drains your energy.
So what is effective?
Often the most powerful approach is silence. Not an angry silence, but a peaceful one. Let your actions, let your work, let the transformation itself be the loudest statement.
Let your success speak for itself.
Exactly. Your success proves your worth to you. That's what matters, not to them. Don't waste precious energy trying to win acceptance from people who maybe can't even accept themselves. Just shine fully.
That's powerful advice. Okay, let's move to our fourth type. These are the people who knew you from, let's say, a lower starting point. Maybe they felt superior,
Yeah.
but now you've surpassed them.
Ah, yes, the dynamic shift. This one can be really complex too.
Can you paint a picture for us? Imagine being that person, maybe feeling unseen, perhaps even being subtly mocked for your dreams back then, while others around you just seemed so confident, so superior.
Yeah, maybe you tentatively shared a hope, something you wanted to do, only to get that condescending laugh back.
Right, and that dismissive you. You want to do that. Come on, look at yourself.
Maybe you genuinely had very little back then, materially or in terms of confidence. Just a heart full of these dreams you were almost afraid to even speak out loud because you feared more laughter.
Exactly. And then, over time, things change. You work hard, you grow.
And this type of animosity kicks in. It's not about you directly harming them in any way, but it's incredibly potent for them.
Why? What's the core of it?
It's about you becoming the very reflection they dread the most. You're the person who started with less, seemingly, but you were more diligent, maybe more persistent, and ultimately you went further than they did.
So there's envy involved.
Oh, definitely. Often deep envy, because deep down they know they had advantages. Maybe better opportunities, more initial attention, just a head start, but they got comfortable.
They stagnated in that comfort zone.
Exactly. They stayed in the same safe place, maybe resting on old successes, without really developing or pushing themselves for years. Then one day, they look around.
And you're not behind them anymore.
You're not behind them. You might even be steadily pulling ahead. And that hits hard.
It must be a huge blow to their ego, especially if they felt superior before.
Absolutely. Your progress just highlights their own lack of development starkly. Your success, especially if they were once, say, your boss or a mentor figure or just someone who condescended to you, it shatters their sense of dignity, often quietly, internally.
It can't reconcile the old you they remember with the successful person you are now.
Exactly. In their mind, you might still be that quiet kid in the corner wearing old clothes, speaking hesitantly. They can't update the file.
And the negative feelings come out.
They get angry, really. Angry at themselves for stagnating, angry at the situation. But that anger often gets projected outward. manifesting as resentment or even hatred directed towards you.
It sounds like a defense mechanism again.
It is. It's a very natural, though not very healthy, human mechanism to avoid feeling inferior or like you've missed out or been beaten. It's especially hard for arrogant people to admit they misjudged someone.
Particularly someone they once looked down on.
Precisely.
Okay, so what does this mean for you, the person who has moved ahead? How do you handle that? How do you remove the sting of their past dismissal and their current judgment?
I think it starts with self-forgiveness. That might sound odd, but it's key.
Forgiving yourself. For what?
Forgive yourself for ever believing their negative words in the first place. Forgive yourself for letting them define your potential, even for a moment. Forgive yourself for maybe underestimating yourself because you saw yourself through their critical eyes back then.
Letting go of that internalized judgment.
Exactly. And then the next step is radical self-acceptance. Accept yourself completely as you are now. You don't need their acceptance anymore because you finally fully accept yourself.
That takes the power away from them.
Completely. The best way to erase those old insults isn't to argue about them or try to win against those people. It's simply to grow so much internally and externally that their old words just lose all their power in your heart.
So don't focus on defeating them.
No, just keep moving forward on your path. Become living proof that anyone, no matter how low they might start or how much dismissal they face, can succeed if their heart just doesn't give up.
That's incredibly empowering. Okay, let's dive into our final type. This one seems like it can be the trickiest because it's often the most subtle, maybe even confusing. Those who are unconsciously envious.
Yes, this is a really fascinating one. Their behavior isn't usually clear-cut hatred. They might even say complimentary things to you.
Right, but you still sense something's off.
Exactly. You might sense this underlying discomfort, maybe an irritation or just an annoyance around you that even they don't seem to fully understand or acknowledge in themselves.
So they don't even realize they're envious.
Often, no. That's what makes it unconscious. They rationalize their discomfort in other ways.
How so?
Well, they might tell themselves, oh, I just don't click with their personality, or they're kind of showing off, or they fall back on the old standby. They just got lucky.
Anything but admitting the envy itself.
Precisely. Because admitting envy means acknowledging a perceived lack or deficiency in themselves, and that feeling I'm missing something they have can be really intolerable for some people. It's like declaring inadequacy, and their ego just can't handle that.
So how does this unconscious envy actually show up in interactions? What are the subtle signs we might pick up on?
You might notice small things. Maybe you feel like you have to be careful what you say around them, like you're walking on eggshells.
Okay.
If you share some good news, maybe they offer a compliment, but it feels backhanded or has a slight jab hidden in it.
The classic backhanded compliment.
Yeah. Or they might just quickly change the subject, maybe back to themselves or to something negative. You'll often sense it more in their energy, maybe a flicker in their eyes, or just an unusually strained or flat reaction to your joy. It creates this constant low-level tension when you're around them.
Who tends to fall into this category?
It could be anyone, really. Maybe people who work just as hard or harder but haven't achieved the same level of success yet. Or people who try hard to maintain a certain image but feel like you get more positive attention.
Or maybe someone who used to have a higher status.
Exactly. Someone who feels their position is somehow threatened by your rise, even if logically it isn't.
This feels so important to recognize because it's confusing. So what's the key takeaway for us when we suspect we're dealing with this kind of subtle unconscious envy?
Well, first, don't expect them to suddenly wake up and change overnight. It's unconscious for a reason. And definitely don't go seeking their validation or enthusiastic congratulations.
You'll likely just end up disappointed.
Exactly, you'll just be disappointed. Sometimes the kindest thing, both for you and maybe even for them, is to gently create a little bit of distance.
Not necessarily cutting them off, but managing the interaction.
Right. You don't have to hide your success or apologize for it ever, but recognize that not everyone is capable of listening with a purely happy heart, especially if they're wrestling with their own inner shadows, even unconsciously.
You don't need to dim your light just to make someone else comfortable.
Absolutely not. Your success isn't a mistake. You don't need to apologize for doing well. If they genuinely are unaware of their envy, maybe time will help. If their heart grows, maybe they'll come to accept it, even celebrate with you eventually.
But if not,
If not, don't force a false closeness or a relationship that constantly feels strained. It's not worth your energy. And this really raises a crucial point, I think.
was that?
While feeling a twinge of envy might be a natural human reaction sometimes, not everyone confronts it within themselves. The ones who do, who acknowledge it and work through it, they are the ones truly ready to grow.
And those who don't.
Those who don't, who let it fester unconsciously, will just continue to create this quietly undermining atmosphere around them. And the real danger for you is letting that negative energy subtly drain your own life force.
Making you hesitant to share good news, or maybe even causing you to shy away from shining as brightly as you could.
Exactly. So you have to be mindful, protect your energy.
That is such a critical warning.
Okay,
Wow, what a deep dive this has truly been. We've covered a lot of ground here.
we really have.
We've explored how these negative reactions to your success often aren't really about you directly. They stem from other people's unhealed pain, maybe their unaddressed dreams, or sometimes just fragile egos.
Understanding that dynamic is so key.
It really is. It helps you release some of that anger or confusion you might feel and just continue on your path more peacefully.
Mm.
It really drives home that it's not about changing their minds or proving them wrong.
Absolutely. And if we connect this all back to the bigger picture, the real victory here isn't about winning some argument or finally getting their approval.
What is it then?
It's about cultivating that inner peace, that deep self-acceptance. That's what allows you to truly shine in your own authentic way, pretty much regardless of how others might react.
That feels like the ultimate goal.
I think it is. So maybe here's a final thought for everyone listening to consider this week. What would it actually feel like to navigate your achievements, big or small, with such deep self-acceptance that the negativity coming from others, it just loses its power over you. It just bounces off.
Mhm.
What more could you create? What more could you become if you were truly unburdened by needing that external approval, especially from people who might be choosing to live in their own shadows?
That is a really powerful question to sit with. Food for thought, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. It's been incredibly insightful.
My pleasure. Great conversation.
And thank you all for listening. Until next time, keep shining your light.